we have audio because I think that's been a challenge for us. Let me just go here and go here. Stream here, but before I get started, let me make sure we have audio. Very good. Okay, so hi, my name is Franklin, and as you heard the news, you can see my background there. We're honoring Johnny Pacheco tonight, who was a legend, and I have the honor and pleasure of having with me Kika, who worked with Maestro Johnny Pacheco for many years. Let me show Kika right there. She's actually on standby. How you doing, Kika?
Good.
Wonderful. I know it's a sad day for everyone today. And so, how do you feel?
Sad, with just overwhelming flood of memories. Of the kindness that a maestro was. He was so kind. When he took you under his wing, he literally, I mean, you felt almost protected. You knew that he always had your best interest at heart, and he was willing to share all of his knowledge without hesitation. So, I miss him. That was a lifelong friendship. People in New York jokingly would say that when my ex-partner and I separated, because Pacheco was in the middle of that, then I got Pacheco and the divorce. I guess I kind of did. But yeah, I became very good friends with Pacheco's wife, with Cookie, who, as you well know, and he told us, you recall, when we had him in D.C., that, and I asked him who his best friend was, and he immediately pointed at his wife, immediately pointed at Cookie. So I developed a very, very close, strong relationship with Cookie and in the interim with the maestro.
Yeah, no doubt that he had a special place in his heart for Miss Cookie, and I too have the honor of meeting her. I wanted to go back and remember him, and for those who don't know, let me just quickly tell you a little bit about who El Maestro Johnny Pacheco was. I mean, he truly was a legend, a living legend for us, now gone. But Mr. Johnny Pacheco is credited with doing so much for our music. And let me just share with you, if you go today, let me share the screen, and you can see that today, if you go and do a search on Johnny Pacheco, you can see that basically most of the mainstream media have actually published something on his death. He was reported ill yesterday, was taken to the emergency room yesterday. And was it yesterday?
Actually, Saturday.
Okay, Saturday. Okay, Saturday. Very good. And so the moment he became ill, we were made aware through the media, and those of us who have contact with some, direct relations with some of the family members were able to hear this firsthand. And so we were worried because we know during COVID, I wasn't clear if it had anything to do with the pandemic or if it was unrelated. At any rate, going to a hospital now is not the best time to do under any circumstances. And so as you can see, as I share my screen here with all the reporting of his parting, and it's because he truly was a legend for us, and his contribution are so many that you're going to hear about him for many, many, many years, forever, really, to come. So Johnny Pacheco was born in the Dominican Republic on the 25th of March, 1935. So he was, at the time of his death, he was 85 years old. How we know him best is through this music called salsa. And they attribute the popularity of salsa to him because through his record label, Fania All Star, a lot of the top musicians of the time, we're talking about back in the 70s, they actually came through this record label. So you had luminaries like Celia Cruz, Tito Puente, Pete El Conde Rodriguez, and so many others that came through that record label and really popularized that rhythm known as salsa throughout the world. And of course, one of the most prominent figures being Celia Cruz, the queen of salsa, as she's known. We've got, I wanted to quickly play for you some of his music so that you can kind of like get a feeling for what his music is like. He had just incredible talents. He played a number of instruments. Here's that music you're hearing. That's him. That's Pacheco. All right, let me just share my screen so you can see. That's me sending a cruise there. All right, so let's talk about. There you go. So, Kika, let's talk about the time that El Maestro came to Washington, D.C., which was really the first time that I met him in person. And it was such a special time for me. It was during the inauguration of the first African American president, Barack Obama, and I was then chairing the communications for the Democratic Party of Washington, D.C. And I think at that point I was also the chair of the D.C. Latino Caucus. And so we were looking for a way to celebrate this momentous occasion, the inauguration of the first African American president. And so we wanted to go big. And so through a mutual friend, I reached out to you, and then you made it happen. So what made you contact? Because I know you manage a number of artists and musicians, and so why did you think that Pacheco specifically was suited for this one occasion?
Well, when Angie Del Rego is the one that reached out to me and told me that you were looking to give an award to a musician, and that you were Dominican, and I believe that at that point you already knew that you were interested in Pacheco, and so of course, I mean, it was history, the first African American president, and then from the south side of Chicago, which is where I'm from, and I was like, yes, of course, and then Angie explained to me, who you were, what you were about, and then, we had the phone call.
We honor a special Latino leader. Continue, huh?
I'm sorry?
Continue.
Made a difference, not only he.
Keep on going, uh-huh.
So then I remember we had the phone call, and that was marvelous, and I felt like, yeah, this is right. So, reach back to Cookie, because Cookie is the, as you well know, she's the business decision maker. And she said, if you think we should do it, Mija, we'll do it. And it was during our interaction about the whole gala and how everything was going to go down, when I recall I called you and I asked you who was going to hand Pacheco this award that he was being gifted that that evening, and you said, I believe you said Congressman Henry Goyak. It was a politician, definitely. And it was at that point that I said, whoa, Maestro Pacheco does not like to mix with politics. And that's when I decided to reach out to Senor Edward James Olmos. And, Mr. Olmos didn't even let me finish asking a question if he would go and do us the honor of giving this award to Maestro. He didn't even let me finish. And he was like, yes, of course I'll do that. I'd love to do that. And, and he was. So that was the Maestro and Cookie. They were part of history, and they knew it.
Absolutely.
They were part of history.
Absolutely. Let me play a little bit of that moment, that historical moment that we had, so people can enjoy it.
And at some point or another, you would remember Celia, and you remember Tito, and you remember all the great jazz artists that played Latin music and got their heads spun around, okay? Because Latin jazz and salsa is really difficult to play. Much more intense. For a life that has been overwhelmingly ours, he gave us so much of his life by giving us his music. A friend came up to him right now and said to him, you know what, Johnny, man, I got all your old records, dude. I got them all, man. Johnny looks at him and says, well, why don't you buy the new ones, dude? Why don't you buy the new ones? Think about it. Think about it. So I say to you, Johnny, you humbled me, you made me cry. You're a giant. And I'm here because of you, man. I'm not here because of Barack Obama. I'm here because they told me Johnny Pacheco wanted me to say thank you to him. Are you kidding? Come here, Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Johnny Pacheco. One of the greatest human beings alive today. We'll tell your grandchildren about it. And if you want to know more about who he is, just go onto his website and read about what this man has done with his life. If you think you know, you didn't begun. And there's a really beautiful store there. Buy his albums. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Johnny Pacheco.
Boy, I'm very glad I called James. Como me ha dicho, no tengo ni palabra. You spoke so beautiful about me. I don't know how much I heard you now. But it was incredible. And like he said, I feel like I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world. Because I grew up playing music, which is the thing I love. And when you play, it's like some embajadores mundial. And we have the luck, la suerte de tener, por ejemplo, a Celia Cruz, un Tito Puente, Cheo Feliciano, Alberto Santiago, on and winning prizes and recognition with all those people behind me. It's like a wonderful life. But at the beginning, I remember I did a demo, and I went around pushing the record. I wanted to get a recording. And everywhere I went, decían, eso es una porquería. Eso no sirve. Y a mí se me salían las lágrimas. But I never gave up. I said, one of the things, I'm going to walk in there and I'm tell them, for the whole record. And it happened. I brought a record to a radio station and I told this guy, I had fun. I said, can you play that? And he played it. He used to play Orquesta de Mon Fajardo. So he played El Ruido de Macorina. That was on a Friday. Saturday, everybody was looking for the record. But I didn't know I had a hit. So they put a contract in front of me and I signed it. But I don't regret that. The thing is, I never gave up and I made it. And speaking of luck, I have a collection of Don Quixote in my house. El flaco está por toda la casa. And he was a tribune. So was I. And I still treat on my wife. So my was and every time I had a dream that I wanted to do something, I went ahead and thank God lo lograba. I wanted to have my first band in 1960. I started Pacheco. Then I wanted to have my accompaniment. I started Final Record. And everything that I wanted, thank God, I managed. I worked hard to do it. I managed to get it. And having friends is one of the things that I love. Because I have like incredible friends and they're what you need. That's why I want you to join me in un fuerte abrazo al Señor Aún. Que una vida también actualmente, lo que se me dice, una que te leo parece un cura.
With all our love, Johnny, and we have a special little something else to take. Come on over here. We have to take pictures.
All right. That was such a special moment. We're remembering the legend Johnny Pacheco, who passed earlier today. And we're remembering the time when he visited Washington, D.C. back in 2009, January 17th, 2009 to be exact, during the inauguration of the first African-American president, Barack Obama. And we were honored to have his presence and honor him at that gala, where a lot of Washingtonians and people from out of the city came really to celebrate a momentous occasion. So it was the first time that I ever met him. I of course I knew of his music and loved his music for many years prior to meeting him in person. And so we're talking now with somebody that knew him well, that managed him for a little bit, and was the person that brought him to us during that inauguration or the inaugural gala in 2009. Her name is Kika, and let me just continue our conversation with her. We have her on the phone here and on video. And so Kika, talk to us a little bit about that night. We think that it is just so special what happened. It was magical. I mean, I still get goosebumps when I listen to the dialogue that took place there. I think it's just amazing. I did not know that he talked and said that he keeps a collection of Don Quixotes from the Men of La Mancha, very popular, character from the Spaniard Cervantes, who is probably the equivalent to Shakespeare in the Spanish language world. And so he said the Quixote, it's a thin, slender figure. And it's interesting how he mentioned that he keeps a collection. He says that it is throughout his home, everywhere. But it's one of those things, that unless you know him well, you really don't know those kinds of things, right? And of course, the love he has for his wife constantly, you could see it. He, on many occasions there, made mention of her. And of course, we know that was true every time, we spoke to them. But share some of your thoughts of what bringing back that memory.
Well, that evening, his manager senators, Cookie. I like to refer to myself as their kind of like Cookie's Gucci bag, if you will. So whatever she needed, I was there, and when she wasn't around, I took care of things for her. But she always had the final say so. But that evening was so magical. I mean, because DC was so alive. Which before I forget, I want to say, how ironic that when Pacheco and Maestro was there in DC, like almost said, we're on the cusp of something really big here. This is big, and we were in a lot of trouble, and here we are again, on the cusp of something really spectacular, really big, and in a lot of trouble. But there was so much joy and happiness throughout DC. It was incredible, but there was not a taxi to be had. Do you remember that?
That's right. Right.
There was not a cab to be had, and so there we are at Carlos Rosario. It was bitter cold, and we had no way. All the cars were already there. Whoever was there was there. Their cars were not going to be moved. It was, and so I remember pacing up and down the hallway, thinking, how the heck am I going to get Edward James almost at this hotel over there, and Maestro Pacheco on the other side of town? And I look and I see this police officer sitting there with a white shirt, so I kind of knew he was a, captain or something, and he turned out to be Latino. And the minute I said, I need somebody to go pick up on Maestro Pacheco and Edward James Ramos, he jumped up. He was like, yes, of course. So while we're on our way to go get Edward James Ramos, this captain, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name, he radios in for another police car to go and pick up Maestro Pacheco and Cookie. And so that's how we got to the gala, which, that was incredible. It's just, everything about that evening was just magical. And to be able to have all of these people, like you said, Mayor Bowser was there, Jim Graham, resting in power now. Ted Losa. Ted Losa, was Ted Losa. Well, all of that there was so many. Congressman Henry Cuellar, and the list goes on. We were talking about them earlier. How many high-powered people were there, and how they knew, who this man was. They knew, I remember having a conversation with, Dr. Maya Angelou, and she immediately, she knew who Pacheco was. In fact, she had met him, they had spent time together. Who doesn't know Pacheco? Who doesn't know Pacheco? He's incredible. Man was incredible. His wisdom, it didn't end. It had no limits.
That's right. That's right.
And if there's anyone I know that adores his maestro, it's Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez.
I'm sure a lot of
we could talk about him for days and days, and barely begin to touch on everything that he's left us.
Yeah, a lot of people, no doubt, loved Maestro Johnny Pacheco, and it's because he gave so much of himself, right, to the world. And going back and finalizing our comments on that evening, you're right. We had just so many people so many luminaries that adored that evening. You mentioned a few, but even former Secretary of Labor Tom Perez was there. The first Latina ever elected to the legislation in Maryland was also there. A number of them were there. Johnny Murguia was there. What used to be the National Council of La Raza, the head of that organization, now Unidos US, was there. There were so many people. The audience was incredible, and like you said, nearly everybody recognized Johnny Pacheco as the grand person that he was. because as you notice, we had we awarded different personalities throughout the evening, but at the end, it was like the grand finale, right? And that really brought the house down, if you will. And that's when, like, that was the moment everybody was waiting for. I mean, it's like the entire evening was really for him or about him, if you think about it.
Right.
It all went around him.
Yeah, it was because, and when I walked in, and I walked in with Armos on one side and Pacheco on the other side, I mean, everybody, you could, the electricity in the room. And everyone knew who Pacheco was. Everyone knew who he was. And I would have to say, out of the three major Latin galas held for President Obama, of course I'm a little bit biased, but I have to say that being that it was there at Carlos Rosario, it was a rather small venue, so people were right there they were so close to a maestro. I think that made that particular gala stand out from the other two. The other two, of course, like they were gigantic.
I agree.
The Union Station and what was the other one?
And it was one of at the Organization of American State.
Exactly. Where this gala was small.
That's right.
Everybody felt like they were there personally with these two gigantic, icons.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, everybody was there for Pacheco. Everybody wanted to see Pacheco, wanted to touch Pacheco. He was.
It was a special moment, no doubt about it. And so I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to go back and remember this legend that is no longer with us physically, but that will be with us for a very, very long time. I know his legacy will live on. His music will live on forever. If you have never heard songs by Johnny Pacheco, please go to YouTube and search Johnny Pacheco, Pacheco. You love his music. It's the kind of music that catches on. It's just the rhythm is nice and clear and simple, and that's why he was able to collaborate with so many different musicians in so many different types of not just salsa. He did all kinds of rhythms also. Those who are knowledgeable about Latin rhythms can tell you that he's just had a very, very wide array of rhythms because he plays so many different.
Yeah, not to interrupt you, but he actually worked with David Burns of Talking Heads. I mean, we could just go on with the number of people that And if you want to get a better bird's eye view into Pacheco, there's a movie called El Cantante, which was made by Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez, and that'll give you a really nice, crisp for Pacheco 101.
Very
Put it
good.
that way. Pacheco 101. Pick up the film, rent it, whatever. You can probably find it online, and that'll give you, I think, good bird's eye view into who Pacheco was and what it was that he created.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
And that film is a few years old, and so you are likely you're able to find a lot more recent documentaries on him. I know I've seen a number of them that have come out since that film that Kika mentioned, and so we're going to go ahead and close out for the evening, and appreciate everybody that watched this transmission. We hope that you are inspired to listen to his music and that you ensure that his legacy lives on forever. We will do our part to ensure that happens through all these wonderful memories that we have of him. I also remember something that we had no time to now go to, but I also accompanied him and Kika and his wife, of course, to the Dominican Republic. I think I want to say a year after we invited him to DC. The Dominican Republic honor him and gave him a major tribute. And so I was had the honor of going there with him and his wife and Kika, and we documented that well. And so at a future time, I'll share that on Facebook, on my Facebook post. I'll put one out there so that you can see that. That was just amazing also. But overall, you can just search for Johnny Pacheco on YouTube, and you can be enchanted by his music because it's just that good. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Let me thank Kika again. If you want to say something at the end here, Kika.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And I think that El Maestro is just too big of a subject matter for us to do in one evening, in 130 minutes. It's going to take a couple of sessions of getting together, and because there's just so much. There's so many memories about him, so many things about him that so many people don't know. So again, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for loving El Maestro.
Thank you for sharing him with us, and our thoughts and prayers go now to his wife and his extended family everywhere. I know that they are mourning the loss of to us it's a legend, to them it's a family member that's departed, and so I know that they're going through the grieving period. So our thoughts and prayers are to his wife and all his family. And to you as well, Kika, because I know you too. When I called you earlier, I know that you were crying. And so we're praying for everybody. And the one way that we can do to honor him is to make sure that we continue to listen to his music and that we educate the newer generation about his music, which is incredible. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Have a good evening.